Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a coin that you might not expect to be worth much, but believe me, the 1981 Lincoln penny could be hiding some serious value that might just surprise you. The host holds up a 1981 Lincoln penny to the camera, focusing on its design. Rarest coins. That's right, folks. The 1981 Lincoln penny may look like any other penny from the early 80s, but there are rare varieties and minting errors that could make this coin worth a lot of money. So, if you've been holding on to any 1981 pennies, it might be time to take a closer look, because you could have a hidden gem on your hands. Cut to a close-up of a 1981 Lincoln penny on the desk, with the magnifying glass and a light source highlighting the details. Stick around because in this video, I'll show you exactly what to look for when searching for valuable 1981 pennies. We'll go over the rare varieties, minting errors, and condition factors that can turn a common penny into a valuable collector's item. Let's get started. Cut to footage of the US Mint and old coin presses working. To kick things off, let's take a quick look at the history behind the 1981 Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American currency since 1909. And by 1981, the design had remained relatively consistent since the Lincoln Memorial reverse design was introduced in 1959. The 1981 penny, like other pennies from that era, was produced in mass quantities by the U.S. Mint. Cut back to the host holding the 1981 penny in their hand. The 1981 penny was minted in two locations, Philadelphia, with no mint mark, and Denver, marked with the AD. A total of over 10 billion pennies were produced that year, but what makes the 1981 Lincoln penny so special? While it may seem like just another coin from the early 80s, there are a few errors and variations that can make certain 1981 pennies worth much more than face value. 1 million rarest coins. Host zooms in on the 1981 Lincoln penny on the desk. So, what makes a 1981 penny worth a lot of money? Well, there are several reasons why certain 1981 pennies can be considered valuably, from minting errors to unique variations. Let's go over the most common reasons why the 1981 Lincoln penny might be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. 1. The 1981 double die obverse, DDO, error. 2. The 1981 off-center strike. 3. The 1981 S-proof penny. 4. High-grade 1981 pennies in mint condition. 1. The 1981 double die obverse, DDO, error. Let's start with one of the most exciting and valuable errors to look for, the 1981 double die obverse, or DDO. This error happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, which results in a doubling effect on the design. Shows a side-by-side comparison of a regular 1981 penny and a 1981 DDO penny. On a 1981 DDO penny, you'll notice the letters and numbers appear doubled, especially on the word A Liberty, the date, and In God We Trust. This doubling can be more subtle than on older coins like the 1955 DDO, but if you spot it, you could have a valuable coin on your hands. Close-up shot of the Liberty and date with visible doubling. Now, how much can a 1981 DDO penny be worth? Well, depending on the strength of the doubling and the coin's overall condition, a 1981 DDO penny can be worth anywhere from $50 to $500. If it's in high-grade condition, like MS65 or higher, it could even sell for over $1,000 at auction. So, if you find a double die penny, you definitely want to get it graded to see its true value. 1 million rarest coins. 2. The 1981 off-center strike. Another minting error to look out for on the 1981 Lincoln penny is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is struck slightly off-center, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned. Shows a penny with a significant off-center strike. Rarest coins and off-center strike can vary in severity. Some coins might only have a small portion of the design missing, while others might have a larger misalignment, making the coin more distinctive and valuable. Close-up of an off-center 1981 penny with the visible design shift. off-center 1981 pennies can range in value from $50 to $500, depending on how much of the design is missing and the overall condition of the coin. More severe off-center strikes with a noticeable misalignment are usually the most valuable. 3. The 1981 S-proof penny. Host. Next up, let's talk about the 1981 S-proof penny. While most 1981 pennies were minutes. Welcome back to the channel. If you've ever looked at a 1982 Lincoln penny and thought it was just a regular old penny, Rarest coins think aone, because today, I'm about to show you how 1982 Lincoln pennies can actually be worth a lot of money. Holds up the 1982 Lincoln penny to the camera. You might think that most modern pennies aren't worth much, but believe me, there are rare varieties, minting errors, and graded high-condition coins from 1982 that can fetch hundreds, even thousands of dollars at auction. So, if you have any 1982 pennies lying around in your coin jar, now's the time to take a closer look. Sets the penny down and zooms in with the camera to focus on the details of the coin. In today's video, we're going to talk about the valuable 1982 Lincoln penny, including the varieties, the minting errors, and the reasons why some of these pennies are so sought after by collectors. So, let's dive right in. Rarest coins. Cut to footage of the U.S. Mint, historical images of coin production, and old pennies. First, let's take a quick look at the history behind the 1982 Lincoln penny. By 1982, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design had been in circulation for more than 2 decades. The U.S. Mint had already produced billions of Lincoln pennies since their introduction in 1909, and the 1982 penny was no different in terms of basic design and function. Cut back to the host holding a 1982 penny in their hand. Rarest coins, however, 1982 marked an important turning point in U.S. coinage. That year, the U.S. Mint switched the composition of the penny from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc, with only a thin copper coating. This was a move aimed at reducing costs, as the price of copper had increased significantly. Places a copper 1982 penny and a zinc 1982 penny side by side, but the real twist lies in how this changeover in composition led to 2 distinct varieties of 1982 pennies. The copper 1982 pennies and the zinc 1982 pennies, and on top of that, the 1982 penny in particular has some very special features that can make it worth a lot more than just 1 cent. Camera zooms in on the 1982 penny as the host discusses the different ways it can be valuable. So, you're probably wondering what makes a 1982 Lincoln penny worth so much? Well, there are several factors to consider when it comes to the value of these coins. The most important ones are varieties, minting errors, and the condition of the coin. Let's take a closer look at each of these. 1. The 1982 copper penny, rare and valuable. Let's start with the 1982 copper penny. As I mentioned earlier, the U.S. Mint switched to a zinc-based penny in 1982. But they still produced some pennies in copper before making the official switch. What makes the 1982 copper penny so special is that only a small number of these copper pennies were struck at the Denver Mint. Holds up the 1982 copper penny and shows it close up. Most 1982 pennies are made from zinc, but a small portion were still made from copper before the change was fully implemented. The 1982 copper penny is extremely rare, and these pennies can fetch a premium in the right condition. Camera zooms in on the penny with light reflecting off its surface. If you happen to have a 1982 copper penny, you could have something worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition. A high-grade example of this coin, such as one in MS65 or MS66 condition, can be worth anywhere from $500 to $1,000 or more. 2. The 1982 ink penny, not as valuable but still important. Now, while the 1982D copper penny is rare, the 1982D zinc penny is by far the more common variety. However, even though this version is widely produced, there are still some minting errors that can make it valuable to collectors. So, let's talk about those. Host shows a regular 1982D zinc penny and compares it to a high-grade example. Host: the 1982D zinc penny itself, when found in uncirculated condition, can still fetch a few extra bucks, especially if it's been well preserved. A high-grade 1982D zinc penny in MS65 condition might be worth around $10 to $50, depending on the current market and the demand for high-quality coins. 3. Minting errors that can increase the value of the 1982D Lincoln penny. Host: here's where things get interesting. While many 1982D pennies may look similar to one another, minting errors. Welcome back to channel Rarest Coins. Have you ever thought that a simple penny could be worth hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars? Sounds crazy, right? Well, if you've got a 1980 Lincoln penny lying around in your change jar or tucked away in your collection, you might want to stop and take a second look, because some of these coins could be worth way more than you think. Cut to close-up of the penny as it's flipped and examined closely. In today's video, we're going to talk all about why the 1980 Lincoln penny is one of those rare finds that could make you a lot of money. So, make sure to watch until the end, because you might just discover that your pocket change is worth a small fortune. Camera cuts to a shot of a large number of pennies scattered across the table. The 1980 Lincoln penny might look like just another coin from the late 20th century, but this particular year is special for a few key reasons. For most of us, the 1980 penny is just another coin we find in our spare change, but if you're a keen-eyed collector or a coin enthusiast, you know that every penny has its story, and in 1980, a few of those stories are worth telling. Cut to a quick history recap with visuals of a 1980 penny and the design elements. Rarest coins in 1980, the United States Mint produced over 7 billion Lincoln cents. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, you'll find Abraham Lincoln, of course, along with the year 1980. On the reverse, you see the iconic A Union Shield design with the words AE Pluribus Unum and A 1 cent. Pretty standard, right? Cut to host pointing to various features on the coin with the magnifying glass. But here's where things get interesting. While most of the 1980 pennies are pretty ordinary, some have certain features that make them extremely rare and valuable. We're going to break it down for you and show you what to look for. Camera cuts to close-ups of various pennies, some with zoom-ins on key details. First things first, what makes a coin rare and valuable? Well, it's usually a combination of factors, including scarcity, condition, and sometimes a minting error. Let's take a look at the most important factors that could turn a regular 1980 penny into a valuable collector's item. Cut to close-up of a 1980 penny with the focus on the lettering. One of the key rarities of the 1980 penny is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin is struck twice, creating a doubled image on the obverse side, especially noticeable on the lettering, the date, and Lincoln's bust. The most common signs of a double die are the doubling of the A Liberty text and the date 1980. Cut to high-definition photos of a genuine 1980 double die penny with arrows highlighting the doubled areas. Take a close look at the AL and AI in A Liberty, or the A8 and A0 in the year. If you can spot this doubling, then you've got yourself a double die penny, and that's a pretty big deal. Cut to host holding a 1980 double die penny. These errors are highly sought after by collectors, and if you find one in excellent condition, it could fetch anywhere from $100 to over $500 or even more, depending on the severity of the doubling and the overall quality of the coin. Cut to close-up of the copper penny and the zinc penny side by side, showing the difference in color. Rarest coins now. Here's something you might not know. In 1980, most pennies were made of zinc with the copper coating, but there are rare examples of 1980 pennies that are entirely copper. This happened because the U.S. Mint was transitioning from pure copper to copper-plated ink, and a small batch of pennies were struck with the old copper alloy. These copper pennies are very rare and highly valuable. Cut to a professional coin grading service photo showing a copper penny from 1980. Depending on the condition of the coin, a copper 1980 penny can be worth anywhere from $10 to $50, but if you find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it looks as if it just came out of a mint bag, it could be worth hundreds of dollars. Keep an eye out for that reddish-brown color. Cut to a table with several different pennies, some in bags with labels and others in folders. In addition to the double die and copper pennies, there are F. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever wondered whether your 2019 Lincoln pennies could be worth more than just 1 cent, then you're in for a treat today. You might think that modern pennies aren't worth much, but trust me, some of the 2019 pennies out there are worth a lot more than their face value! $1 million rarest coins. The camera zooms in on the 2019 penny in the host's hand, clearly showing the year and Lincoln's image. Rarest coins. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to explore the world of coin collecting, today's video is going to be packed with valuable information about the 2019 Lincoln penny, including rare varieties, minting errors, and why some of these pennies are now worth hundreds of dollars, and even thousands, in some cases. So let's jump right in and discover how a 2019 penny could turn into a hidden treasure. Cut to historical footage of the U.S. Mint with the voiceover. Before we dive into the valuable aspects of the 2019 Lincoln penny, let's quickly talk about the coin's history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909 and has undergone several design changes over the years. In 2019, we saw the continued use of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which had been in place since 1959. However, there was a significant change in the reverse design for some years leading up to 2019. Cut back to the host, who holds up a 2019 Lincoln penny for the camera. In 2019, the U.S. Mint produced a number of different varieties, including the 2019 P and 2019 D pennies, which were struck in Philadelphia and Denver, respectively. But the real excitement lies in the rarities and minting errors that started to pop up on the 2019 pennies, and these errors can make them far more valuable than you might expect. Camera zooms in on the 2019 penny as the host explains what makes it valuable. So, what makes the 2019 Lincoln penny worth a lot of money? Well, a few key factors can turn a regular 2019 penny into a highly valuable collector's item. Let's take a look at the main reasons why certain 2019 pennies are worth more than their face value. 1. Minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes. 2. The 2019 Lincoln penny with the W mint mark, West Point Mint. 3. High-grade examples in exceptional condition. 4. Low mintage and rare variations. 1. Minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes. Let's start with one of the most common ways to find a valuable 2019 penny, minting errors. These can include things like double dies, off-center strikes, or even die cracks, and they make a coin significantly more valuable. One of the most exciting errors to find in 2019 pennies is the double dia, especially on the obverse, the front of the coin. Zooms in on the obverse of a 2019 penny, showing areas of potential doubling. Double die obverse errors occur when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, which causes the image to appear doubled. On a 2019 double die penny, this is most noticeable on the date and liberty, with the letters and numbers appearing to be offset. Sometimes, you'll also see doubling on In God We Trust. Cut to a close-up shot of a regular penny and a double die penny for comparison. 2019 double die pennies are relatively rare, and they can be worth anywhere from $50 to $500 depending on how strong the doubling is and the condition of the coin. The more pronounced the doubling, the higher the value. And if you have a high-grade coin, it could be worth even more, up to $1,000 in some cases. Cut to an example of an off-center strike. with the design clearly misaligned. Another minting error to watch out for is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the press, resulting in a portion of the design being missing or cut off. Off-center 2019 pennies can be worth $100 to $500, or even more, depending on how much of the design is missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Rarest coins too. The 2019 Lincoln penny with the W mint mark, West Point Mint. Here's one of the most exciting discoveries from the 2019 Lincoln penny series, the 2019 penny with a W mint mark. You might not know this, but in 2019, the U.S. Mint produced a special edition of the Lincoln cent at the West Point Mint, and these pennies have a W mint mark under Lincoln's shoulder, right where you would typically see a D or AP mint mark. Host shows a 2019 Watt penny with the M. Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins. If you're a coin collector or just someone who likes to dig through pocket change, today's video is for you. Today, we're talking about the 1979 Lincoln penny, a coin that may seem like a regular penny at first glance, but there are some hidden gems out there that are worth a lot more than just 1 cent. The host zooms in on the 1979 Lincoln penny, showcasing its mint mark. Yes, that's right. The 1979 penny, minted in Denver, might look like a standard coin, but there are rare varieties and minting errors that make certain 1979 pennies worth a small fortune. So, if you've got a jar full of pennies lying around, it's time to take a second look, because some of those could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Cut to a brief montage of pennies being examined under a magnifying glass. So, how do you know if you have a 1979 Lincoln penny that could be worth big money? In this video, we're going to dive into the different errors, varieties, and conditions that make some of these pennies so valuable. Stick around to find out what to look for and how you could find a hidden treasure in your own collection. Cut to historical footage of the U.S. Mint in the late 1970s with a voiceover. Let's start with a quick look at the history of the 1979 Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent has been a part of American currency since 1909, and by 1979, the design of the coin had already transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo in 1959. The 1979 penny is part of the post-1970s series, after the U.S. Mint had moved away from the wheat cent design. Cut back to the host holding the penny. In 1979, over 6 billion pennies were produced across the U.S. Mint's 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The 1979 penny, struck in Denver, has an AD mint mark located right below Abraham Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse of the coin. But even though this penny is considered to be common, there are rare varieties and errors that make certain 1979 pennies worth a lot more than their face value. $1 million rarest coins. The camera zooms in on the 1979 penny on the desk as the host starts to explain the factors that can make the coin valuable. So, what makes a 1979 Lincoln penny valuable? Well, there are several minting errors and varieties that can turn this common penny into a collector's item. The key things to look for are: 1. The 1979 double die obverse, DDO, error. 2. The 1979 wide AM reverse. 3. The 1979 off-center strikes and other minting errors. 4. The high-grade and well-preserved coins. 1. The 1979 double die obverse, DDO, error. Let's start with one of the most famous errors in the world of coin collecting, the double die obverse, DDO. This error occurs when the coin's die is misaligned or doubled during the minting process, creating a doubling effect on the design. On the 1979 DDO penny, this doubling is most noticeable on the words "A Liberty," the date, and the phrase "A in God we trust" zooms in on the date and liberty on the 1979 penny to highlight the doubling. On a 1979 DDDO penny, you'll notice that the letters and numbers appear slightly offset or doubled. The most obvious area to check is the date and liberty, but you can also see the doubling on "In God We Trust." The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Cut to a side-by-side comparison of a normal 1979 D penny and a DDO penny, showing the difference in the design. Coins with clear doubling can be worth anywhere from $50 to $500, depending on the strength of the doubling and the condition of the coin. Higher-grade coins with strong doubling can fetch even higher prices, with some examples selling for over $1,000 in auction. Rarest coins. 2. The 1979 D wide AM reverse. Another rare variety to keep an eye out for is the 1979 D wide AM reverse. Normally, the letters A and M in the word "A America" on the reverse of the penny are very close together, but on some 1979 D pennies, they are spaced farther apart. This is what's known as the wide AM reverse, and it's a rarity among the 1979 D pennies. Holds up a 1979 D penny, showing the difference between the regular AM and the wide AM. If you find a 1979 D wide AM penny, this is a highly sought-after variety. The difference can be subtle, so you'll need to examine the reverse of the coin closely. The wide AM variety can fetch anywhere from $50 to $200, and in higher grade examples, it can